What's scary and dangerous is entrepreneurs who don't realize that they're focused on the problems, what's not happening, where they aren't. Why is this person so much further than I am? I think it's the like embedded secret mental patterns.
So hello and welcome back, everybody, to the Everything is Influence podcast, where on each and every episode, we dig into the 4 levels of influence. Ultimately, how has this person become this amazing human being? How do they see the process of influence and transfer their thoughts, their ideas into other people that compel them to action? How do they do it one-on-one? How do they do it to groups? And where we're going to start here, again, as always, is legendary influence. What is this person doing in the world today? How have they taken their thoughts, their ideas, at scale into the market to really better the lives of other people? And I'm really excited to introduce you to our guest today. If you don't know her, her name's Eileen Wilder. We have the same initials, and both in sales, all the stuff. And she has just blown up these last couple of years. And I've known her since pretty earlier in her journey. But it's like it's amazing to see what you've done. So without any further ado, Miss Eileen Wilder, how are you?
Yo. What's up, Eli? And the whole podcast crew listening. I'm so excited to be here. Excited to share some tips. Man, I'm pumped.
Great to have you here. So as I said, I want to start a little bit different on this. So I want to ultimately start with just let everybody know, first of all, we'll start here. What are you up to in the world today? Like, what do you do? What's your business like? Yes. And what's your mission all about?
Yeah. We help people do 6 and 7 figure days with virtual events. That's kind of like we just love it. It's so much fun. We love helping people speak and then kind of get a big cash infusion in one day with virtual events. And we just love events for so many reasons, same reasons you love events. I know you love speaking and events too, Eli. And we just kind of got into that a couple of years ago. We had an events background because I was a pastor with my husband, but we didn't make a lot of money. And my husband was Uber driving to support our family when I found out about this whole world that we're all in, like entrepreneurship. I'd never actually ever heard about this universe called entrepreneurship, or that you could start your own business or whatever. So I found it a couple of years ago, and then now we're helping people do $1 million days and 6-figure days, and it's great. I love it.
So you get people to virtual events like 5 days and stuff like that.
Yep.
And you show people how to do their own events and sell big ticket at these.
Yeah, sell high ticket. So that's a big thing of what we do is usually somebody comes with us like a course or a low ticket thing, and we'll wave a magic wand and make it a high ticket thing. Basically, we'll transform what they have into a high ticket offer. And that's how the cash infusion happens.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, I saw you. I was there sitting with you. We saw Tony speak together at the live stage. But you got to speak. You were speaking.
Yes. It was such an honor, such a privilege. I couldn't believe it when they asked me. I was like, wait, did you get the right person? But they did. So I got the honor and privilege of speaking at Funnel Hacking Live. It was the best audience ever. It's like such a crazy, they're like so passionate. And so I hope you'll get to speak there too, Eli. You would love that crowd.
Thanks. How did so a lot of people listening here obviously going to want to be able to speak and monetize. How did you go from working as a pastor, speak on the funnel hacking, kind of walk us through that journey?
Gosh, that's crazy town.
The biggest stages in the industry.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I couldn't afford to go to Funnel Hacking Live so actually a friend told me she was going, and she's like, oh, it's a marketing conference. And she paid for my ticket. It was like hundreds of dollars, and I couldn't afford it at all. So I just sat in the back, and I didn't understand anything, Eli, that they were talking about. Literally, they were showing pictures of funnels.
When is that?
Okay, so that was 2017.
Okay.
Yeah. No, Eli, it was 2018. It was 2018. And so they were showing diagrams and it was marketing stuff. Yeah. They're like percentages, and the crowd would go wild. They would show they'd use the word order bump, right? And the crowd would go, oh, and then they'd zoom in on the order bump. And I was just like, what is happening here? But at the end, they made a high ticket offer. And I was like, it sounds amazing. I called my husband, who was Uber driving at the time. And I'm like, can I do this thing? And the cost of the program, Eli, was was like around the amount, it was like 21,000 or something like that. And we made around 30,000 Uber driving.
Mm-hmm.
So it was scary town. I was
You
so
did it. You did it.
did it. Yeah, I did it. It was like probably that. Yeah, but I had just never heard of this world that was like you could change the world, which is what I was in a nonprofit, so I was like all about changing the world. You could change the world and make money.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what? I really legitimately was like, I felt like I walked through the wardrobe in Chronicles of Narnia, like you like open the wardrobe and you're like in a totally different universe.
Yeah.
Everybody was getting these awards. The awards were like they made $1 million. I never even met anybody that had made $1 million. And there were all these people getting awards. And I was like, oh. So all I knew was like, in this room, you make $1 million.
Yeah.
Like this, that's what, so I was like, oh my gosh, I was so excited. I was signed up right away.
So you signed up for this thing, and
Yes.
for everybody listening, we share a mentor in Myron Golden.
Yes.
On the podcast. And, I think I know that, well, I met you through the sales mentor, the traffic and funnels thing initially.
Yes. That's right.
Yeah, you were part of the program where I was.
Yeah.
That's just now coming to me because I was
I
thinking.
totally forgot about that too. Yes, I learned sales from you. That's right.
Yeah. And when did you join Myron's thing?
2019. So 2019, about a year later, after kind of Russell kind of changed my life, introduced me to the world of entrepreneurship, funnel hacking live, changed everything for me, literally.
So you learned ads, funnels.
Yeah, I learned it all from Russell. So I learned all that from Russell. And then Russell basically introduced me to Myron because Myron, spoke for him and I got to know Myron, met Myron. And then Myron was like, oh my gosh, I used to be a pastor. Yep. And now I speak. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have spoken for years and years and years. You can make money while speaking. So I was like, I had never heard that before. And so Myron introduced me to the world of like, that was live events. That was like before COVID. So we were doing like 2-3 day events or something like that.
What was this? So in a year, you came up with enough money to buy Myron's thing.
Yes.
You had some success.
Oh, yes. I was so happy.
What were you initially selling? Your first
life coaching. I was selling life coaching. It was like a Christian women's like find your purpose coaching program.
Nice.
It was the only.
What was the price?
Well, I started, Eli, at selling it at $297 over the phone. And I couldn't believe it when somebody said yes. I still remember the day that somebody was like, yes, I'll buy it for $297. And I was like, I almost dropped the phone and fainted. I was like, oh, it works. And then I kept increasing the price because someone taught me that the more that people pay, the more they paid attention. And my students weren't showing up to class. They weren't doing the homework. I'm like, what's wrong with these people? So I started charging more money. And so I went from $297 to $497 to $997, which to me was like the most expensive thing. I couldn't believe I was charging someone else $997, but they bought it. And I kept increasing the price. And I went to 2K and 3K and then 4K. And then I think I stopped it at around 5K, charged that program. And I got, so I think pretty soon, I made back my investment in the coaching programs that I had participated in. And that was like the real evidence that I was like, oh, wow, selling works, selling changes lives, and high ticket sales makes this go faster.
Yeah.
That was all my epiphany that year.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. You're selling very high ticket now.
Yeah. Now we're $1 million offer, 250K, 100K. Yeah. Oh. So there, now I've very much catapulted into that mental syntax.
Yeah.
High ticket is serving people.
Yeah. And you're in Category Kings with Russell now.
Yes. I love Category Kings.
150K.
Yeah. 150K. Yeah. The opportunity came up for us to join Russell's kind of highest level program, which they call Category Kings. And there are 14 slots available. And we were, invited in, allowed in, I don't know. And I must have paid that so fast, Eli, because I'm sure when someone's changed your life, maybe, Tony's changed my life. I know Tony's changed your life. When the opportunity comes to work with somebody at a high level who's changed your life, you're like, yes, Yeah, absolutely. So we were, and it has changed our lives being in there. It's been amazing.
That's amazing. I work with a couple people that are in there as well.
Yeah. Okay.
To kind of reverse engineer how you got here. First of all, what everybody says about you, you're like the most likable person.
Oh man.
And you teach sales, and it's interesting when the sales industry, most people that sell are seen as, it's hard closing type stuff.
Yes.
So you have a different essence about you for sure.
Yes.
To kind of reverse engineer that process, it's great. It's so refreshing to talk to you because you do well in sales and you're great at sales and you're a great communicator naturally.
Thanks, Eli.
All of that. And, is that natural for you? Did you learn this? Like, because you were doing the pastor thing, but just not making money? Like,
right.
How does this evolve? So you obviously had to work on your own mindset, getting your mindset wrapped around this. When you were working as a pastor, were you just preaching? What was the game there?
I was doing a lot of things as a pastor, but I think the chief among them was our primary job was to care for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like my job as a pastor was like, I'm calling, I'm texting, I'm messaging, I'm praying, I'm reaching out. So one of the strengths of my ministry friends and people in nonprofit work is their empathy is very high, and their emotional intelligence is very, it's almost like they've been conditioned to be hyper aware of how someone else is doing.
Yeah.
So their attention, they've been taught and conditioned, don't focus on yourself. Sometimes to their own detriment, right? So they're not taking care of themselves, right? But focus on other people. And I was amazed when I came into the sales arena, how few people it felt like were doing that. Right? Because the desire and the need to close the sale was higher than most people. Not everybody. You obviously you serve while you're selling, but if you could care more, because Tony leads this so well, care more about the person and more about leading the person right into the best decision for them, they can feel it.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah. We have an interesting term that we use because I'm, for my own sales process, like I have some behavioral flexibility. I'll be really direct. And one of my mentors, another one of my mentors, Jesse Elder, we've had on here, gave me this term. It's called being carefrontational. So instead of confrontational, carefrontational. So I'm sure you don't care, but I'm going to put it in your face. And so there's a tone there that, it's like this unique balance where you're, and Tony taught me this, be hard on the problem, easy on the person.
Oh, I love that.
Empower the person and kind of get them really associated to the challenge that's a pattern of their thought, their feeling, their emotion, and get them to make changes.
That's so good. I love that. You said hard on the problem, easy on the person. That's brilliant, man.
Yeah. So, for yourself, you were already speaking to like a church group?
Yep, church group. Yeah, small church in Washington, D.C. So we'd spoken at a lot of Brazil and Colombia and Romania, which, travel all over. So sometimes bigger churches, but those repetitions, right? Like every time you stand up in front of speak, I think you get a little bit better, right? So I was terrible. I was actually really bad when I first started. I was like really bad. Actually, I was looking at some old footage. It was scary town. But thank God for growth and the ability to practice. And I think I was too busy trying to be perfect at it, Eli. I think I really wanted the crowd to be like, wow. And that was amazing. And so I cared more about that than, I don't know, that made me do it worse somehow. My desire for their approval or whatever. So too needy maybe is what it was. So
self-conscious,
so self-conscious. Oh my Lord.
Yeah, it's hard to connect when we're conscious of ourselves.
Yes. Yeah. So it was bad news bears.
Well, turning windows or turning mirrors into windows. A lot of times we're looking.
Wow.
But if we can really, and then after a window, we can turn our eyes into X-rays, like seeing what's happening beneath the surface inside of a person. So there's layers to it, and so you just did a lot of reps And
A lot
you
of
got,
reps. Yeah, a lot of reps. And then, FHL, I kind of like went to a new level in my own personal preparation because I knew I wanted to do a good job for Russell.
yeah.
And I was like, also trying to push the outer limits of myself as a speaker. So I was challenging myself to do things I'd never done before on the stage. And I was trying to just myself, like up my game, So I was happy with that though. I got a lot of great feedback and that's the game, right? Just like want to get better.
Yeah. Yeah. When you're speaking, because you're such a natural at it, at this point, it seems, because you flow so well. What is that preparation process like?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, now, the number one principle that really helped me, and it seems to help a lot of other people, but if I can in my mind play a game in my mind that's like, how much fun could I have in this moment?
Yeah.
Like, how much more fun could I make this speech than any other speech I've done? If I play a little game like that in my mind, I find that the energy is loose and the flow is loose, right, with the crowd. And then it seems like everybody, it's like if you're enjoying it, like a comedian, right? Like if they think it's funny or something, like the audience feels like it's funny. So if I'm having fun, I feel like the audience, it seems like, I mean, they could be lying, but it seems like they're having fun. So if I can show up in that loose, free, fun energy, it seems that transfers.
That's great. So fun. What else helps you prep? And
I actually have to memorize my bits. I call them bits. I have to memorize them. That has taken me hours and hours and hours, some of those bits, but now I've got them down. So like the other day we were at some mastermind and Russell was like, I need you to get up and teach this thing. And I did it and I could do it because I had it memorized, and that I personally do better. I don't know if everybody does better like that, but I perform better like that.
Yeah, it's like I think it was like 2015. One of my students created Eli's book of bits.
Oh, really? Oh my gosh, you've got your own book.
Hundreds of language patterns and little stories and anecdotes to shift beliefs. And so we archived a lot of it. And so
my gosh, I would pay $9 million for that. That sounds
a lot of them
amazing.
are things that Tony taught me, and the little things, and I'll give you one right now for everybody listening. Yeah. Oftentimes I'd have somebody or an audience that I could tell was a little bit financially challenged. And I'd want to infuse decision-making in them, or a higher sense of resourcefulness. And so we call it, the strategy is called attack and confess.
Attack and confess.
So I attack a belief, and then I make a personal confession to create empathy so they don't feel personally attacked, where I might say, who here has ever been a little financially challenged? Me too. But would you like me to share with you? So this is called a bounce. Would you like me to share with you, or have you ever? So I'm pulling them into the story.
So cool.
Would you like me to share with you how I was able to turn that around? And so there was a point in my life where I was in a really bad spot, and there was just no way out. And I don't know if you've ever been in a spot like that, but maybe you can relate, because I'm trying to get them to relate to my painful moment, to my pit. And I say, but here's what turned it around. I don't know if you've ever had a time in your life where things were bad, but you wanted something so bad, you weren't willing to settle, because that's also the thing I want them to do.
Good.
And you weren't willing to give up. And for me, here's what happened. So I get a little bit of a story, but I said, you know what? I'm not willing to settle. For you might have been somebody in your family got sick, or you just wanted it so bad, you just weren't willing to stop, at any cost. And I overcame. I found a way. I found the money. And what I realized and this is the magic distinction that you want to write down. So I say to them, I said, I realized of all the other times that I said I couldn't afford it, if I had just been more committed, I could have found a way. And now anytime I ever hear myself saying I can't do something, and this is embedded command, I say, Eli, you are a liar. You're effing lying to yourself.
Wow.
So I'm saying it, I say, Eli, but then I say, you're lying. You're a liar.
Wow.
Now, so that's superior. And then I soften it. I say, no, I wouldn't be lying to say that it's hard. And I wouldn't be lying to say that I don't know how, but to say that it's impossible to do something when so many other people are doing it.
Wow.
Well, that's the biggest lie we could ever say. Because when we lie to ourselves about what we're actually capable of, what does that kill? It kills all potential of actually doing it. So if you and I want to move our lives forward today, we can't lie to ourselves about what we're actually capable of, can we? And so now what I did inside of there, any limitation, I got them to agree that any limitation is a lie. And so at the end, and I would look people right in the eye, and I have like 10, 20 people there, and I would ask them individually to buy. And I'm right there, and they see me as an authority, and I'd say, hey, do you think this would help you? And they say, yeah. I said, well, do this. And don't you lie to me. Can you do this? And so any objection was framed as a lie. And so about 20 of these little books, and we would master them, and I'd work on
my gosh, that's so good, Eli.
An NLP called a referential index, where I'm telling the story about but then I bounce it out to you.
Yeah.
So it changes the kind of the star of the story.
Yeah, the star.
So I do this, and even as you're listening to this, you're beginning to realize. And so I geek out on all these things.
Yeah.
It's a natural way of connecting with the audience. And so one of the things that I always want to do is kind of, reverse engineer what people believe about influence or the process of selling, because you've been so successful, so fast, leading the industry. What do you think differentiates you? Because there's other people selling high ticket. There's a lot of high ticket coaches now. What do you think's helped you speed up the process and do so well?
I wonder if sometimes I feel more like a normal person. Myron has told me this, and some people have told me this. They've been like, I think people like, I'm not like a superstar or a celebrity, or I'm a normal person. Like I'm like homeschool mom. I still homeschool my kids. Like being a pastor is a little not normal, but like I had a job. I don't know. And I feel like, but then something amazing happened to me, and it was high ticket sales. And so I feel like people can relate perhaps more. I was a person that faced a lot of fear, have a lot of insecurities, still do sometimes. I think I'm just very like, I get you. I feel like I get that. I get it. I get the struggle. I get like, what I remember when we were in debt, like trying to figure this out, buying all these courses and buying all these masterminds. Like I feel like the pain, I understand the pain. So maybe that's something to do with it. I'm not sure, but I don't know. What do you think it is, Eli? I don't know.
You're just so likable. Just so authentic. And it's the capacity to create trust and authenticity. It's amazing, and all the catchphrases, crazy town, crazy pants.
Oh yeah. I do like funny words. I do. Yeah.
It's awesome. When you're selling people, do you use like scripts? Do you use frameworks? And when
I did.
Do you work off like a framework, or how do you create that? And you have an amazing business partner, Joe.
Yes, Joe. I love Joe so much. Yes, Joe is amazing. And when I first started, yes, I did. I had a script and I used it every single time, more as like a safety net, of like where I was taking people, because I was still learning, like, what am I supposed to ask? Is there like a sequence or order of how this goes? But I found that after a while, my pastoral side would just keep kicking in, and I would just keep asking more and more. I'm like you, Eli. Like I love to learn. I love people, and I love just like I genuinely want to know. Like I genuinely want. So I found, and then I didn't realize, Eli, that the more that they talked, the more they bought.
Yeah.
So that was like by accident figured that out. And then I learned later that in sales training, you're not supposed to talk a lot. And I was like, oh, phew. Like, so question asking. So I think that I kind of by accident fell into that, but that worked really well. So at first, yes, scripts. I love scripts. I think they're great. Like sometimes I would like lose track of thought, like, and then I'd just look at the script and I'd be like, oh, get them back here. But it took me a while to get into the position, like you like of confronting them. That took me a little while of like, it's okay to challenge them. But once I started getting the hang, or I got permission to do that, I really enjoyed doing that. Like I enjoyed challenging the way that they've been doing it before. Whether they bought, and I love to say it like this, I think Myron taught me this, like whether you buy or don't buy, like I'm going to challenge you.
Yeah.
And that feels good, doesn't it? In sales, like, because you feel like I'm really helping this person.
Yeah.
Nobody's probably ever going to say this to them.
Yeah.
But I can.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I loved those sales conversations. I always felt very honored. Did you ever feel like that, Eli? Like sometimes they're telling you things that are very never told anybody.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like very sort of sacred sometimes, those conversations. I don't know. Did you ever feel like that? Like, wow, this is like
Yeah.
amazing what they're saying to me.
Yeah. I've had countless people tell me that they, didn't commit suicide because of my presentation or because of my call.
Oh,
Hundreds. So yeah, it's a big deal to be able to sell and do that, and it can shift somebody's
amazing.
focus in their life.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's really cool. So you got into selling one-to-one, selling this life purpose program, selling high ticket stuff. And then when did the challenges? I know Myron does challenges.
Yes.
And we kind of
Yeah.
that juiciness
Mhm.
and put together a high ticket program for. So what do you sell specifically in your high ticket program? So it's speaker stuff.
It's speaker stuff. Yep, speaker stuff. So we have something called six-figure speaker and $1 million speaker. So just kind of like wherever that business is, if they want to move into events, we have like 2 different tracks. Yeah, for them to go into. Yes, they'll learn speaker training, and then we'll write their offer and help them sell it. Yeah, at events. So
when you experience challenging times in your business now or in the past, what are some beliefs you push through?
Yeah.
About yourself, people, money, time. What has created that? Because a lot of people listening might not be in this amazing spot. That might be where back in your chapter 1.
Yes.
Are being.
I think one thing that really encouraged me, and I still think I meditated a lot even now. In fact, I have the book right in front of me, but I started reading this book every week. Myron told me to do it. It's called U Squared.
Yep.
And by Price Pritchett. And I started learning that, he taught me that like the struggle isn't real. The struggle's only imagined. So that helped me because I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so far behind all these marketers. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've just been reading the Bible for like 30 years. Like, I don't know anything. I felt really like this is going to take me forever. And if you're listening, you're like, oh my gosh, like I have so far to go. And I'm so behind. I haven't read all the books Eli's read, and I don't know how to influence my kids, nonetheless, masses of people. But this book taught me about kind of like start to believe to take quantum leaps. Mm-hmm. And the book, and I was like, okay, well, what's a quantum leap? And it was like, where a particle of matter like is in one place and suddenly moves into a completely different place, almost as if simultaneously, like it goes to a new level almost simultaneously without apparent effort and without covering all the bases. Mm-hmm. So it talked about kind of like being still, don't try so hard, quit striving so that your mind and your eye can start to see the quantum leaps.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, so I kind of just started trying that, like not kind of doing what everybody else is doing. Do you know what I mean, Eli? Like everybody's like freaking out about
grinding, hustling.
Yes. And like, the Facebook algorithm, and everyone's like, and so you'll hear it in their words. They're focused. Many entrepreneurs are focused on the problem. Yeah. And they don't realize they're focused on the problem. But I can tell they're focused on the problem because I can hear the words coming out of their mouth, right? And if you focus more on the solution, for instance, asking yourself a better question, how can I do a $10 million day? Mm-hmm. Kind of interesting question, right? Like you're like, well, I could hire a really big draw celebrity at an event. I could go take out a bank loan if I didn't have the money to pay for ads, or I could raise capital. I mean, there's like your brain starts to like see like, holy cow, I actually could do a $10 million day.
Yeah. Yeah.
But most entrepreneurs are talking more about the problem than they are the promise. What could happen? Yeah. What is it they want to see happen? And I find if people would just make that move, it's like small tweaks to giant peaks, right? It's like just tweak the mind of focus on what you want.
Focus on you. Most people are stuck focusing on the problems and the tactics.
Yes.
Yeah. So they have to shift their mindset.
shift their minds. And I don't see, the thing is, I think what's scary and dangerous is entrepreneurs who don't realize that they're focused on the problems, what's not happening, where they aren't. Why is this person so much further than I am? So I think it's the like embedded secret mental patterns that are in there that are kind of sabotaging. So then the mind and the eye cannot see the quantum leap.
Mm-hmm. That's a great book. And so I've read it a few times myself. It's a good one. For you, you've got this amazing company, and to get here, we talk about a business by definition is a system that provides value. So you've dialed in systems there. But for yourself, what are some of the personal things you do to help you optimize at peak performance? Like, what's the first thing you do when you wake up?
Oh, first thing I do when I wake up, I love to go on a walk.
Yeah.
I learned that probably from Tony, I think, or something. I was reading something where like getting blood flow to the brain. So that's like my favorite thing to do. I'm a big like listener, reader. So I'm usually like listening to something as I'm walking. I love that kind of thing. That's my favorite way to do it. I do like a lot of like self-care. I know this is going to sound really, but I don't believe in like hustle and grind. It's like, I believe in ebb and flow. Yeah. So I don't know. I make sure my calendar is real clear so I can just think.
That's
and
important.
Read.
Yeah.
It's really big for me. I notice that I don't show up as well, Eli, if I'm like back to back in meetings, or like, even if I'm around two people too much, I'm like, oh, what? So I kind of get like uptight or upset, or I don't know what the word is, anxious. So I like love to sit in my zero gravity chair in my backyard and just reading and thinking and getting ideas. I love talking to like friends on my phone, like, or I get ideas, and so I'll box people, and so that flow works great for me. I don't know how that is for other people, but yeah, I if I get too much into like back to back, I start to think I'm missing it. I'm going to miss the quantum leap.
There's got to be time for creativity, So I think I have 12 or 13 meetings today.
Yes, right. Yes.
It's some days are back to back, and I try to make some. Sunday nights I usually just unplug, and I stretch, and that really helps me.
Yeah,
I probably could use more of that myself. And I think as entrepreneurs, we lose sight of that sometimes. That what's going to make you really prevalent in the market will be your X factor, your uniqueness. But if we're reading all the different stuff and we're just giving so much output, we don't have time to rejuvenate and come up with that creative energy. That's powerful.
Yeah. I don't have like some like amazing ninja morning routine. Like it's really quite boring, so I'm not one of these like
whichever breakfast.
I do like green juices. So it's like real like boring. Do you know what I mean?
That's good stuff. Yeah. You look really healthy.
Oh, thanks, Eli. That means a lot.
I think that's important. I got my buddy, we do some events together, Chase Hughes, and he's like the top, like, military grade.
Yes.
Spent several, multiples of 8 figures on just every kind of process there is in order to be able to influence people, like hypnosis and all of that. And, it's like people will ask me or ask him, like, what do I say to get the free coffee or the upgrade in my airline seat? But a lot of it comes down to, it's not just the language, but a lot of communication is not based in words. It's movement, appearance, confidence, in the capacity where you make people feel safe, connection, and intent. And so we measure people on a lot of this when we review speakers and all these things. But yeah, you've got just a natural flow with it. You make it really easy for yourself and everybody else.
You too, man. You too. Yeah. I mean, I feel like if you just love people and love what you're doing and have fun.
Yeah.
I feel like, because this great quote by Saint Irenaeus, I think it goes like, the glory of God is man fully alive.
Mm.
And it's like, if we can all just like step into what that means for each of us, like whether that means like, and sometimes it's like back-to-back podcasts, she's like crushing it in content and it's life-giving, but to find out what lights you up, what energizes you as an entrepreneur, what you could binge out and read about all day or whatever it is. Like it's different for all of us, but the glory of God is man fully alive. It's like the more we all step into, as everybody listening, like step into what you feel like is put in your heart to do. It's like we love watching. It's like we all love watching you burn. You know what I mean, Eli? Like you burn with passion for sales and influence and like communication and speaking. It's like we could all listen to you all day. That's why we're so grateful you started this podcast. So it's like for everybody listening to us to keep leaning into that, keep looking and searching, you know?
That's beautiful.
Because that's how we're going to change the world.
Yeah. And since you bring it up, and I asked Myron this too, when I interviewed him, you know, how much do you think that your faith, because most people don't have a pastor's, you know, church background that are entrepreneurs that I
Yes,
interview.
that's true.
Myron certainly does. How much do you think that kind of influences you, helps you in what you do, having being a faith-based entrepreneur?
Yeah, I guess it's like something bigger than you, right? You believe something bigger than you is looking out for you. It has the best for you in mind. Your best days are out front. Like I think faith and hope breed certainty and conviction as an entrepreneur, right? So it's like, and to starve your doubts, like don't let the negativity and even your own negative self-talk, or maybe something bad happens. You launched an offer, launched a funnel, it didn't work. You know, like it's like if you have faith, all things are possible.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah, there's a scripture that says, for man that think this is impossible, but with God, all things are possible. So it's like, whether you believe in God or the universe or whatever that means to you, it's like, it kind of positions you now to stop trying so hard in your own effort. And now you're positioned to keep it for the quantum leap.
Yeah. You know, Steph Curry, he's a basketball player.
Yeah.
His kind of what he says to himself about 1,000 times a day is, you know, I can do all things, which is a straight word.
Yes.
You know, I can do all things.
Yes.
So it's cool for, even if somebody's not, you know, into religion or whatever, it's great to have some kind of mantra or some belief that something bigger than you is supporting you.
Yeah.
And can really free a lot of people from insecurity and doubt, just feeling like that they're guided, that there's something.
Yes, guided. I love that, Eli.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You know, I want to be respectful of your time. As far as like, you know, influencing people and getting to your level, is there any other like bit of wisdom or anything I didn't ask you that you think could serve people? What are like things that people need to do? Somebody's struggling and wanting to speak more. What should they do to initiate that process to get to the next level?
Yeah. You know, this, maybe I learned this from you or Myron, and I don't remember now. Now I'm getting too old in this space. I can't remember where I heard it, but I heard someone say this, that to divorce yourself from the outcome.
Unattachment.
Like, unattached to what may happen, how people may respond, if they'll like, or even if they'll comment on social media or retweet you or whatever, to do it because you know you have to do it, because you know you're born to do it just for the sake of doing it.
Yeah.
Do it, whether it's speaking. If it is speaking, like detach yourself from that crowd, the need for anything to happen. And I think if you'll do that, you'll have way more fun and experience more success than you ever thought possible. So divorce yourself from the outcome, baby.
That's amazing. Yeah, on a lot of the scripts we create, we put certain parts in there where it says HILA, HILA, high intention, low attachment. And
so high intention, low attachment. Oh, I love that.
And so it's like one of those anchors for people. When they hear it, they're like, okay, you know, you can hear sometimes when people are a little bit too attached. And so we want to have high intention, purpose, low attachment. And that's
so good.
It's a nice balance. Tell us, where can folks find out more about you, where you're up to, find out about these juicy challenges you're doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go acceleratemyrevenue.com. So accelerate, however you spell accelerate, acceleratemyrevenue.com. We do challenges all the time. They're free. You can buy VIP, which is a bunch of extra hours and some Q&A with Joe and I. It's always super fun, but would love to have you there. I would invite you in. It's just like family, that 5 days during that challenge. It's like kind of like an hour a day, but by the end, we all just like want to be best friends forever. It's just, it's like the best 5 hours I think anybody could spend on their business. is our challenge. I love it that much.
And I bet it's a lot of fun.
It's so fun.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, cool. Well, thank you so much for taking this time. We appreciate it. And for everybody.
Thank you, Eli. Thank you so much for having me. It was such an honor to be here, really, legitimately. And I'm like so excited. I can't wait to binge on every episode you make in this podcast. So thank you for doing it.
Awesome. Thank you. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.